Hey gang, everyone here. Welcome on back to the Gaiden and part 2 of Mission 40 here in Super Robot Wars Alpha Gaiden. Yes, by the time we get this one wrapped up, we should have our path to the endgame finally charted out, but we have quite a bit of work to do. So let's recap where we are, shall we? In the first part of this mission, we had to take down the bad guy who wraps up the storyline for one of the characters in our army, Brygar, or also known as Bry Thunder. The J9 team, we had to take down their big baddie, Common, and his big old Egyptian-themed battleship. The problem is that in order to bring him down, when we got him to a certain life point, he would clone his ships. So we had to take them all down at the same time. So now what we're having to do is get everybody on board, get them recharged, because this fight is not yet over because of this guy. This is Sanger, and he is the pilot of a very big, beefy boy mech called the Thrudgelmir. If we want to make it to the end game, we have to bring him down, and we have to do it in this episode. I'm hoping it's not going to take a while, but the reason why we cut it off is because, one, we were at an hour and a half in the last episode, and two, the baddies in this part of the game tend to regenerate and make the fights go predominantly longer than normal. So, what we gotta do is, as I take a look here just to make sure I know where we're at as far as making sure the Soleil is alright. And let me make sure I hit the right button here. So, here is everybody that we currently have resting up and recharging for this scrap. So it's all of our usual hitters. We've got the Victory Gundam, we've got the Tornado Gundam, we've got the Wave Rider, which is the Zeta Gundam, which turned out to be a really big, useful tool this late in the game, and of course we have Wing Zero. So now what I need to do is that I need to get everybody else on board pretty much, and we should have a turn or so to let everybody recharge before Sanger gets here. Because while he's a big tanky boy, he can't move very far. So we have the tactical advantage as far as letting everybody charge up. But let me just double check where everybody is. So the Gundam X is doing okay. He's at 3850. The question is whether or not I still... And if I bring him on board with his willpower, the odds are that we can have that drop. But you won't be able to access the satellite cannon. So that is a calculated risk we can take at this part in the game, is that if we bring guys on board to recharge, it can negatively impact their willpower, which keeps them from unlocking and accessing their more powerful attacks. Shingetter is fine, so I'm going to start moving him over to intercept the Thrudgelmir. And I'm going to do the same with Daitarn. Master Z over, move Mazinkaiser over, get Dan Cougar over here. I'm glad I've been able to use him in this fight, because I hadn't used him very much till now. Now I want the Gundam X to be kind of off the side to be my long distance sniper, because the satellite cannon has reach. And bring the Death Scythe over, so now we can see about launching everybody else. And I want to bring the Chodenji brothers up front, because they tend to move the least unless I give them the acceleration boost. And again, I have to be sparing in my application of skill points, because having used a bunch to bring down Common and his forces, if this is going to be a prolonged scrap with the Thrudgelmir, I have to make sure that I have juice in the tank to use things like Valor and Alert and avoid his big attacks and hit him as hard as I can and bring him down. The other thing I want to be able to do is create a big enough perimeter protecting the Soleil, because if the Soleil falls, then it's automatic mission over. I don't think Sanger's going for that, especially considering the number of mechs he's going to have to go through to get to it. But you always want to put as much stuff as you can between it and the enemy. So he's going to continue to matriculate up this way. Now I gotta see how much distance we have left to cover. Alright, so he's there. So all my heavy hitters are over here. And I need to see about giving a little bit of... let's see. Yeah, we'll go with alert for now. Now, the other thing about the Thrudgelmir is, as far as I know, Sanger can only still attack once per turn. I don't believe he has a secondary ability to attack. And I don't think there's... Well, we have the skills, obviously, that allow us to do that. I don't know if he does. But, let's start getting our hits in while we can. Because, as you can see, we don't know how many hit points he has. But we're definitely going to hit him. And the Zankantao, I think, is his melee attack, in which he pulls out a massive sword and tries to cleft us in twain with it. So, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to alert everybody now. And I'm going to get everybody situated. I don't think he has an area attack either. But I'd rather work defensively than offensively, only because if I respond to his attack and I have alert on my whoever it is he targets, then he will whiff and I will get the free shot. So think of it kind of like a riposte in Dark Souls. If you can parry the attack or dodge the attack, you get a free shot at it. Now the question is, where do I want to put Amuro? I want to keep him at distance, and I want to do somewhat of the same thing with Hero, only because I can still use a Valor, and the Twin Buster Rifle has got excellent range on it. So I'm going to put him there, and hopefully he'll be safe. My suspicion is that Sanger, and I'm playing the odds on this, so I could very easily be wrong. I think he's going to go for Mazen Kaiser, or he may try and go for the Wave Rider first. I don't think he's going to go for the Wing Zero. There's just too many other things on the board that might be appealing to him to bring down. And is the way with the AI in this game, it tends to go for the weaker sisters in the bunch. And by that I mean the ones that have been hit a lot, that have seen their hit points drop, but because everybody is pretty charged up at this point, there's nobody that he can definitively single out and decide, I'm going to go for that one. Death Scythe I'll bring down here because he can definitely attack, but again, I'm going to wait. Now, I know Tetsuya, he doesn't have alert, but he's tough enough that he could probably take a decent shot and not go down. Because, again, I've given him the Alloy Z armor, which is, to my knowledge, the best armor in the game. And now I can bring out the Black Alley. And let me bring out... I'll wait on Radine, but I'll move the sleigh over. Okay. Let's see what Big Boy wants to do here. And he's going to go for the sleigh. So we're going to defend it. She takes the hit. And with 18,000 hit points, 2,200 is a fairly significant thwack. So let's get Radine on the board. I don't think I want to put him there. I want him, again, as a support mech. Radine is at his best when he can use his bow and arrow and use his range to pick off guys and not necessarily be up against them. When I can use the God Voice and stuff like that, then yes, it is worth having. So I have the Shine Spark, but not the Stoner Sunshine. Urgh. I really want to unleash that puppy, but I mean... We're dealing with 300 difference in power. I mean, it's gonna hit, and it's gonna hurt. So let's... yeah, let's do it. 6,000 or 5,900 nearabouts. Okay. So we bring up Maz and Kaiser. We'll flank the Thrudgelmir. And definitely going for the Fire Blaster. That did 5,500. And we want to form Zeta Gundam, because we want to do the Wave Rider Assault, which means you got to bring him up and let Camille do this. And we want Soul, so 2.5 times damage as opposed to Valor giving you the normal ×2. And what the heck, we'll see this one, because I haven't seen the Thrudgelmir in a while, so you can see the difference in size. And because the Wave Rider Assault's a relatively new attack, it's always nice to be able to see it. Be gone from here. Ooh, 9,800. But you see, and it's, apparently we can get him and add him to our forces. But it's one of the kind of the Easter eggs in this game. And this is the Zankatsu. Big sword. Which is why I made sure everybody that I could put alert on, I gave alert to. You don't want to be on the receiving end of that. It's that simple. Alright, now let's see if I can... And because we have everybody else with Banjo on this mission for Daitarn, I can accelerate him. Then I can do the same thing, and... So I know I can use Soul, and I can restore HP, or SP rather. That's critical, so I gotta make sure that if this fight goes long, that Topo can deploy that for somebody who's gonna need it. So we'll cast Alert, bring him around here, and the Sun Attack. But before I do that, yeah. Pump up the Soul. It's all about Soul. Pardon my phone for a minute as it chimed off my alert. The Zankanto is what we were talking about. So now we get to see somebody of equal stature in Daitarn take a crack at him. See how much this drops him down by. We just at least drop him under half. It should. Yeah, that brought him down more than a peg. 12,500, and he's only at 110 for energy left. So the Zankanto, if that takes out his energy reserves, that's even better. But that does not mean that he is completely helpless. Because you see those drills behind his arms, he can turn those into basically big gauntlets and use those like what Mazenkaiser does with the Turbo Smasher Punch and what Master does with the Drill Pressure Punch. We can give focus and valor on Hero from here. Question is, can he hit us? Yeah, 54%. So let's drop that down a peg. 24%. And we get support from Great Master, which means if this works, we're going to see the Twin Buster Rifle and the Thunder Break. The only thing I'm worried about at this stage is that 24% we've been hit with worse. Or we've been hit with lower percentages. And we managed to avoid higher ones. My boomstick! $6,000. Now, if you wonder where Thrudgelmir came from, he is bespoke to this game. And here's his attack where he takes those drills off, turns them into flying punches, and launches them at us. But he is one of what is called the OG mechs that are in this series. So they don't belong to any actual anime. There's stuff that Bandai created just to have characters in the game along with their mainstays. And here goes the Thunder Break. And now he's down in the red. 2,634. Okay. Now, is he going to heal up? The Thrudgelmir stopped moving. Over 50% damage taken. Further battle would be unadvisable. Change in orders to destroy targets by self-destructing. Uh-oh. If he's going to blow up, and I got 4 guys around him, okay, change in orders rejected. Change in orders rejected. Cannot self-destruct here. I am the sword of the Megas. And he took off. And that's it? Okay, well, this is going to end up being the shortest episode we've done in quite a while. Not that I'm unhappy about that. But rather than having to fight him and rather than him being able to heal up, he just vamoosed. So now I got Banjo and the postmortem on this one. So the Ancestors' mobile weapons are probably intended to defend the Earth Cradle originally. So was exactly the Mega System something similar to the Dome? Does that mean the woman called Magus the Earth Cradle supervisor, or she could be its core functionality itself? But she looked human enough. There are precedents for people who look like humans on the outside, but inside they're closer to those of a supercomputer. It's possible that Magus was once Dr. Anzai's friend Sophia Nate, who's a key member. But now she's been changed. It could be that none of them are human anymore. So now we're getting more information, or at least speculation, on who our potential final villains are. Because now that we've taken down Common, the only thing that is left really for us to deal with, aside from Magus and her lot, as well as potentially a rematch with Sanger and the Thrudgelmir, is we have the Dinosaur Empire. Because we already took down the Mycenae Empire previous to this. And now what are these guys up to? Thought he'd go pick up some provisions and supplies at a bazaar. Up ahead, the most empty wasteland, there aren't any bazaars. So this is the last one we'll get to use. So this intermission will be critical because this will be our last opportunity to buy parts for the rest of the game. And we have reached the intermission screen. So, the good news is that we are through all of the primary missions. We don't have any bluestone stuff, so even if we wanted to, we can't buy anything in the bazaar anyway. We've only got 52,500 in funds. So, we've got a little bit that we might be able to upgrade as far as units or weapons, but we're not going to be able to do a ton. And then we'll have to take a look and see what all, if any, new parts we picked up. And then from here, we are in the end game, which can go upwards of 3 missions at the most. It's all dependent on how many skill points we have. So at the moment, I believe we've got between 10 and 20. So we may not get the ultimate ending, but we're not going to get the easy ending either. So what we will do is our usual deal. We will go ahead and we will do our leveling up, and then in the meantime, after that, we will prepare for the final push. So before we do, let's see here. Yeah, I won't worry about doing the unit upgrades yet, because we still have to go over a couple other things that we will take care of between the missions. But we have finally made it through all 40. So before I do anything else, I'm going to save it here, because I'd be an idiot not to. And I am an idiot, but I'm not stupid. So let's see. What do we have? Did we get any new parts in? So let me double check it really quick. So we got thruster module, have that. Okay, so we've got our usual stuff. And all the stuff at the end is consumables. And then, yeah, that's it. So, between now and the time we get back together and get started, we should have everybody ready as we can make them for the final 3 missions. Are we going to get breaks between each one? I don't know. If I'm honest, this is the closest I've ever gotten to ever finishing any of these games. So, hopefully you guys will tune back in for that. But if you've been enjoying the content on the channel, you know how to show up by now. Also be sure to tune in to Sports Saturday and Suckerpunch Sunday coming up this weekend, where we play a classic sports and fighting or fighting platform-based game from the 3rd, 4th, and 5th generation. We do have our next playthrough that is picked out as well. That is coming later on in the spring. We are also, between the end of this one and the start of that one, we are going to bring back our one-day playthroughs and WTF Wednesday for a couple of weeks. They've been languishing on the shelf. We need to give them their due, especially because we've been able to find some stuff I think will fit that quite well. Follow us on social media through Instagram and Threads at Ronan's Retrocade to help spread the word about us as we continue to build this channel and make it bigger and better. My name is Ronan. It has been great to spend this time with you. Be safe, be well, happy gaming. We'll see you in the next one as we start the final chapters of Super Robot Wars Alpha Gaiden. Bye.